The great thing is once you realize why multiplying decimals works, there's an easy way to always figure out where your decimal point needs to go when you multiply. So what you do is you ignore the decimal point at first and just solve the problem using your multiplication algorithm. So for this, I'm not going to say 3 4/10 times 14. I'm just going to think of it as a 34 times 14. And then I'm going to follow all of my steps, like I was solving a normal problem. At the end, once I add up all of my numbers, I get the answer of 476. Just like when we saw when we multiplied by powers of 10, you can look at where your decimal point is in the original problem to figure out where it goes. So if you look, I only have one digit here. That means that in my answer, I only need one digit after the decimal point. So that's going to go right there. So it's going to be 47 6/10. Every time, the first thing you do is ignore the decimal point and solve the multiplication problem as if it was whole numbers. When you're done with the problem, then you say to yourself, well, how many digits do I need after the decimal point? So here I see I have one digit after the 4 and one digit after the 7, so that's 2 digits after the decimal point. So now I look at my answer over here and say, well, if I need it 2 digits after the decimal point, it's got to go 1, 2, so it's going to be right between the 3 and the 1. So my answer is 33 12/100. This will work every time, no matter how many digits I have after the decimal point. So every time after I solve, I ask myself, how many digits did I have after the decimal point when I first had the problem? Here I have 2 and another one here. So it's really 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal point. So when I go down to my answer, I have to say I need to move to the point where I will have 3 digits after the decimal point. So here it goes between the 5 and the 9, because then I have 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal point, just like my original problem. It does not matter how many numbers you have. You always start treating it as a whole number, 576 times 32, and then you follow all your steps for your standard algorithm, putting our 0 down, adding up my numbers, and now I go back to my original problem and say, how many digits did I have after the decimal? Here I see 1, 2, 3, 4. So this time I had more. I had 4 digits after the decimal. So I have to figure out where would I have 4 digits. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can put my decimal point. It's always a good idea to check at the end and recount. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the original problem, 1, 2, 3, 4 in my answer, and then I know I'm correct. And this will work anytime you're multiplying with a decimal.